Hi, everyone. I'm back with another interview. This time, I'm going to be spotlighting the Breakthroughs Film Festival, which is based here in Toronto, Canada. I'll be speaking with the festival's chair or chair of the board, to be specific, Nedda Sashar. Nedda is a Canadian Iranian writer and filmmaker based here in the Greater Toronto area. And she'll tell us more about Breakthroughs, or BFF, as we like to call it here locally. The festival itself tries to, or their vision is to bridge the gender gap in the filmmaking industry, and they tend to prioritize the work and the expressions and experiences of different folks, including those who identify as Black, Indigenous, people of color, trans, or gender nonconforming. So we're going to be speaking a little bit about the festival and also about this year's Breakthroughs Film Festival lineup, which is going to be taking place here in Toronto on November 21st and 22nd. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hey, friends, it's Heidi M, and I'm back with yet another interview. I'm really excited to have company in the virtual room. I am joined by Nedda Sashar. Nedda, so lovely to speak with you.
So lovely to be here. Thank you.
So you are someone who fulfills different roles, Neda. I know you're a writer, but you're also the chair of a local festival in Toronto called Breakthrough Film Festival. But maybe tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a filmmaker and writer who has pretty deep roots in the Greater Toronto area. I grew up in North York in a largely Irani community. I've made two short films, and I'm pretty involved in the specifically, I guess, like BIPOC independent film scene in Toronto. And I love telling messy diaspora stories, and anything that sort of like brings uh, underrepresented communities onto screen.
Excellent. So we're going to have to follow your work a little bit more closely from now on. So tell me about your role as chair of Breakthroughs Film Festival. How did you come into this role, and sort of what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have been aware of Breakthrough since 2018. Um,
Mhm.
One of the things I'm very proud of with this festival is that it's one of the um, most accessible and I think catered to emerging, as in really emerging, truly no credits, no real sort of like foundation within like the industry. Folks, we're a film festival that focuses largely on women and non-binary filmmakers, but we do have programming that is open to everybody. Um, I attended my first Breakthroughs Film Festival in 2018, volunteered for the first time in 2020, and then was asked to join the board in 2022, I want to say.
Mhm.
Last year I was vice chair, and this year I'm chair, and it's been lovely and such a huge pleasure. And the organization's changed a great deal since I joined, but I think the heart of what we do, which is really bring together a community of wonderful people to feature women and non-binary filmmakers. It stays the same.
Yes, absolutely. I will say the same. I became aware around the same time as you. And although I try to go to everything, we kind of pick our special spots. So it's nice that BFF allows that space for those of us who are fans of local cinema, but and want to support community. So maybe let's talk a little bit about that, creating that space for very emerging talent, because I find that one thing I do want to highlight that the festival is Canadian Screen Awards qualifying.
It is, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what that means is that if you screen at our festival, and I believe if you screen at another film festival, I'm unclear. I can't remember right now actually what the
Same.
guidelines are for this TSA, but I don't fact check. But I think that like if you screen at our festival, for example, it would count towards you qualifying to submitting your film at the Canadian Screen Awards, which is very cool.
Very cool. And I think that's also meaningful because just bringing it back to this creating this space for folks that are, female or, gender non-conforming. So Tell me a little bit about the community of artists that you bring together every year and sort of even some of the feedback that you've had from filmmakers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I really like to think of us as a bit of a boutique film festival. We only screen 20 films.
Hmm.
And I mean, like we are like I think like as an organization, we work very hard to cater to and provide a platform for emerging filmmakers. But within the lineup of the 20 films include some international films and then some like like brand new, like this is the first time somebody ever picked up a camera kind of like
Mm,
selections. And I think it's very important to be intentional with that because it helps deliver a very unique experience for one, the audience, but also the filmmakers that screen with us. Really like this kind of like eclectic bunch of films that I don't think you're going to be able to see really anywhere else.
mm,
And because it's only 20 films, it really allows it to be like a very digestible experience. Like we screen 2 nights
mm,
at the Paradise Theater, 10 films per night. We spend a lot of time thinking about the lineup and the way that things sort of like gather together. Like we ideally would love to, like bring out like a local audience. So we try to like consider like like whether somebody's like a Toronto local, but oftentimes it doesn't even really end up being a huge like I guess like factor for us because like the films that we just see are so great and so good.
right.
Uh, and it ends up being like this year's festival, I want to say, is like over 60% like Toronto like filmmakers. But it just like like it was just such a strong year
Yes.
for us, and we had such great like like submissions from those folks. So that's really how those things got like chosen.
For
I
sure.
think one of the things that really makes us unique and that I love is that we're a working board. So we have one paid staff, our lovely executive director,
Mhm.
Fernanda, and then the rest of us are volunteer board members, but are heavily involved. Our board makes up the screening committee.
Right.
And so we were watching about over 300 films this year.
Mhm.
And then I actually, as chair, I serve as the programmer, as the final programmer. So I sort of like was able to take all the suggestions of the screening committee and then make final decisions on how we wanted to move forward.
Thanks for saying that because I think it's important that people realize that the film festival world varies depending on the size, the mandate, the mission. And I used to be part of a board too for a small festival. So yes, working boards are a thing and essential in the kind of this life cycle of some of these festivals. So in terms of, thank you for sharing about your programming experience too. So this year is 2 days, the 21st and 22nd of November. What are some of the themes that have emerged in this year's sort of selections, you think?
Oh yeah, great question. I mean, I'm just so excited about this lineup. Like it's some of the best films that I think are really like circulating the
Mhm.
festival circuit this year. Our theme is resistance. And we really like one of the fun things I think about like naming a theme is to really be open to how that can be interpreted in different ways. Like some of our films, I think, really challenge a status quo or like, like name like, like a specific like oppressive cycle or like, like system. Um, Others, I think, are more personal and like really like, like focused and like sort of like name resistance within the self and how that sort of like comes together. I think we like like the films that I think have really stood out to us this year are ones that were ready to be risky and ones that I think like weren't scared of shocking the audience and like really like like taking us to like new places and did so in like very satisfying ways. Um, and we were excited to program those. Like we were excited to bring that kind of like experience to our audience.
That's excellent. And it's also nice to hear that we end up having a contingency out of Canada this year, which so thank you for sharing how the festival showcases local international films. So I kind of want to know what countries we might be getting films to screen for the audiences this year.
Yeah, so we have like an amazing film called The Summer Triangle playing which is from a very talented filmmaker in Iran. We have a film from a BAFTA award winner
Mhm.
um, playing as well. Th that's also an Iranian Canadian, Iranian British filmmaker, I should say.
Yes.
That is based out of England. And the Palm Springs Best Comedy Short Film is also
Mhm.
playing with us. It's called Your Own Flavor by Alicia Ketri. I'm actually, and yeah, like, and then I believe that's most of our selection of like the international um,
Hmm.
shorts that are playing with us. Oh, we have this lovely film called Magdalena Te Amo. I think like like we have like these like international films, but every single one of them is like very like Magdalena Te Amo. I think, for example, is a really beautiful story about this. Um, sex worker who sort of like navigates a complicated relationship. And it's like it was filmed in the States, but the identity of the sex worker is like is a Latina woman. And so every single one of them, I think, like like regardless of where they're from, really delves into like a complicated topic and shows us a very niche subject that I don't think that you would expect anywhere else.
Mhm.
And kind of breakthroughs.
It really is. And that's the whole point, right? That you are giving the space for folks of specific groups, regardless of where they're based. You know, a lot of us are part of diaspora. Like, I mean, I'm also part of a diaspora here in Canada. So,
Yeah,
you know,
same.
so we appreciate being able to see ourselves on screen in different ways. I also don't want to forget that you have one other event, which I think is on this Saturday, called the Grant Management and Budget Clinic. And is that for also emerging filmmakers, and what kind of information can they expect?
Yeah, so I'm so excited for that event. I think like we take a lot of time to think very carefully about exactly what gap we could be filling in programming
Mhm.
industry. There's so many film festivals in Toronto specifically, and they all provide like really exceptional programming. But one thing I think like this year that we've really noticed is just like there's just so many questions about how to manage finances, and like the do's and don'ts of managing grant money, and like just like things that people do not tell you when you're starting up in the industry, and even when you are in the industry and like sort of like in over your head on it. Like I'm going to be attending that session. I promise you I'm going to be walking away with
No, I
points as
understand.
well. Like, and I've been at this a minute. So I think like like I'm certainly excited. We're so grateful to be partnering with the organization POV to POV Film to put
Oh,
together that
nice. Mhm.
programming. And we put in a lot of thought and intentionality to make it a workshop really designed to close a knowledge gap around
Mhm.
the film side.
Yeah. And how would you say the feedback has been over the years? So thank you for talking about the lineup of this year's November 21st and 22nd. Gonna repeat it a few times for
Yeah,
folks.
exactly. Nobody forget.
So given that you've been with the festival for a few years, what have you seen in terms or received in terms of feedback from audiences and people whose work has been showcased?
I mean, I've like I think breakthroughs means a lot to a lot of people. It's certainly like, like I wouldn't be chair if it hadn't played such an influential role in my sort of like, like young filmmaking journey.
Sure.
Um, and I think that's the case as well for many others who are currently involved. We have a very, very prestigious board, folks who are sort of like incredibly busy, but make the time to sort of like um, stay present and give back to the community through breakthroughs. And I think that really speaks to the environment that we've been able to create and the sort of like chemistry that we bring
Mhm.
when we're like together and putting like people's work out there. A lot of the folks who are currently on the board have had their film screen at the film festival.
Mhm.
Well, and I think like like saw a really great opportunity to continue to grow with the festival
For sure.
as the years went on.
Hmm. That's nice to hear because I think the one thing we often forget is that it is around community building. Like the film festivals are fun and they're meant to be fun and ways for us to interact with audiences in different ways and tell stories, but it's also the community building that happens behind the scenes that I think it's important.
I think it's so important, and I think that film festivals really offer this very unique and very rich ecosystem that I don't know if a lot of emerging filmmakers know that they can tap into.
Mhm.
And with breakthroughs, we're constantly trying to think about how we can be more accessible and more far-reaching, and especially for women and non-binary and gender non-conforming folks, we really it's important to carve out a space because I think unfortunately the industry is very much built against us, and it's important to be able to have somewhere that you can find people with similar goals who also are going to be nurturing you instead of telling you to give up, walk away.
So true, so true. Because it's often we hear those stories a lot in terms of how difficult it is to be groundbreaking or actually even break down the doors. Some cases.
I also think that like like with this lineup and we have we're also really trying to like once you are accepted into our festival we also have like opportunities that really allow for networking to happen amongst the filmmakers themselves, and we have folks who um like Alicia K. Harris, for example, who's a film on a Sunday at 11 that we're screening, has won like the Canadian Screen Award, who has um, won, I believe just won the DGC Best Short Film Award as well. And like it is just like in such a different place in her career, alongside like folks who this is their first film that maybe is screening for the first time at a film festival.
Right.
And I think that's very important for both more established filmmakers and very emerging folks to create that kind of environment so that that the um, you continue to keep your community growing, and you have your hand on the pulse of like what's happening and how you can continue giving back, and staying involved.
That's so great to hear. Thank you for saying that. So that is so you have two programs again, Friday the 21st, Saturday, November 22nd at the Paradise Theater in Toronto. What would you like to tell audiences in terms of, maybe first time audience members that are coming to BFF?
Ooh, I'd say like you're in for a treat. I think both lineups on both days are really fun. And I think it's a really, really great opportunity to watch back-to-back short films. I first off, like I love a short film
Hmm.
program.
Hmm.
I feel like I walk in there and I walk away with so many different stories. Like with a feature, you gotta like sit down and like really like hammer in and like if you're not really clicking with it, then you're sort of like in trouble with like a short, like you get really invested and then the story changes. And then you get really invested again and the short story changes. And I just like that. Like I like the highs and the ups and downs. It's like being on a really fun roller coaster, and it's even funner to watch it in an audience,
Yeah.
and especially in an audience like ours that I think like really feels connected to the filmmakers and really wants to bring out like the sense of community that is made behind the film. I'll say that more than anything. I think Breakthroughs is a festival that loves films, but more importantly, loves the filmmakers that make those films.
Hmm.
And I think that's really the energy that we're able to bring out when we get together.
Yeah, thank you. So for folks who are curious, the website is breakthroughs with an S.
Breakthroughsfilmfestival.com.
I had it in front of me and I still
Oh,
kind of messed it up.
I know.
But I'm gonna have it on my website and link it so folks know where to go. The Paradise Theater in Toronto, Friday, November 21st, Saturday, 22nd. Neda, so nice to speak with you. Appreciate your time. I know you probably are running around getting your final things.
I'm getting everything together. I'll also say this is an important year for us because we did a redesign this year. So the are really like if you're on our website and you see some
Mhm.
really stunning pictures,
No, it's nice.
uh,
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually been a collaboration that we've done with a local artist based out of Toronto. She's done a fantastic job, and and we have merch this year that we're going to be selling as well at festival. So you kind of get the whole package.
Very nice. Excellent. Thank you so much again, Netta. We'll probably see you in the cinema.
Well, definitely.
Thanks again.
Bye bye.